All right, welcome back, guys. This is part 2 of how to store fresh water when you don't have a hookup at your site or you're completely off the grid. Part 1, I had pretty much all this same stuff here except this guy. I decided to go out and buy a new pump. Went out and got a Drummond. It's just a 1/10 of a horsepower non-submersible transfer pump, and I'm gonna try it out. I haven't even opened it up yet, so I was using this thing. I realized in my last video I didn't even tell you guys what the brands of everything I was using was. This is a milescraft drill pump, and it worked good, but I got tired of having to recharge my batteries on my drills constantly. And plus, it takes like 20 minutes, and you're just sitting there holding it. It's kind of irritating, so I thought I'd get a pump and try it out. And then, of course, my bag that I used before, it's actually called an Aquatank 2 water bladder. And in the first video of this, I showed you it falling out of the back of the Jeep and landing on the hitch, and it was fine. Well, that happened again and actually punctured a small hole in it. I patched it up with a vinyl repair kit, and we're gonna see if that worked. But first, I gotta go fill my bag, and then we'll get this guy out and we'll see how it goes. I've gone and filled up my bag. It's in the back of the Jeep. It's right over here. The Jeep's parked right in front of the RV. I always leave the bag in the back so I don't have to carry it around. And I got my hose from there hooked into the inlet of the pump, and then my outlet hose hooked into the RV. So here goes nothing. Let's see how it works. This might get noisy, so I'll talk louder if I need to. I'm gonna walk over and check the bag. It seems to be filling up at the moment. It's a little slower than I was hoping for, but I also bought a pretty low horsepower pump. As you can see, I just kind of keep the bag out in the back of the Jeep like that. It's slowly, very slowly deflating. Here's the puncture hole I was telling you guys about that I got last time. And it was just a real slow leak, but I went ahead and patched it with just one of those vinyl patch repair kits you can get for pool vinyl. And it seems to be holding strong, so fortunately it's also on the top side of the bag, so there's a lot less pressure on it. Now we're just waiting on the pump to fill the RV up. One thing's for sure, and this is just kind of common sense, but if you keep the pump lower than the source you're pulling it from, it'll obviously, from gravity, it'll pull the water a lot quicker out of the bag and into the RV. I had it up on the table trying to give you guys a better view of it, but it wasn't pulling out of the bag very efficiently, and the pump was running really, really hard. So I put it down on the ground, and now it's pulling the water a lot easier and a lot quicker. It's taken longer than I thought it would, but I also bought a pretty small pump. So the biggest thing is it's all hands-free. So I don't have to sit in a chair or sit on the ground or whatever and hold my drill until it's all done. Albeit it is a little quicker, but I'd rather have the hands-free in the end. I think you can kind of see in the background, but I was just gonna say I also bought some of those tire covers there for the RV. We've owned the RV about a year now, and I realized pretty quickly that it's the sun damage. You know, that's why they have them on there. My sidewalls and my tires are pretty cracked from the sun and just sitting in places. So I finally broke down and I bought some. One extra thing I gotta do at each stop, you know, no big deal. I think it'll be worth it in the end. I'd rather pay, I think I paid $70 for a set of 4 of those. Way better than a blowout on the highway and, you know, a $400 or $500 tire replacement. So I feel like it was worth the buy. One other thing I wanted to talk about just real quickly. I normally try to avoid the more negative things about RVing and, you know, the stupid mistakes that I make. And, but I did want to talk at least a little bit about my most recent big mistake that I made. That's the end of my exhaust pipe, my muffler. So it's flattened, and this is solid, like stainless. So what happened was I was in a really tight campground, and the road's real narrow, and I was pulling up to the camp host spot, but I already talked to the camp host and I just needed to get around him, but there were 2 cars waiting to talk to the camp host. Give me just a minute. Sorry, my pump was struggling just a little bit. I had to go check on it. Rearrange the bag a little. When it starts to get low, sometimes you gotta shift the bag around and put more water weight on the outlet in order to get the easier flow. So anyway, yeah. My last campground, I was pulling up to that camp host spot and there were 2 campers in front of me. And the road was already narrow and I should have been patient. Impatience is probably 99% of the problems that I have because I'm impatient. Anyway, I tried to squeeze in this little narrow spot in my RV around the other campers, and I saw that there was a stump over there in the grass. Well, I was watching the stump and avoiding it, and just as I'm passing by it, I hear a loud thump. Well, I assumed that the edge of my tire hit the stump, and I just needed to just kind of give it a little gas to get by that stump. Big mistake. What I didn't know is there was another stump behind that stump, lower under the grass, and I didn't see it. So what happened was this tip hit that stump, pushed it back into the tire, and then when I gunned it to try to get by it, I ran my tire right up over the top of this. I pulled my entire exhaust system down underneath there, almost all the way up to the headers. And I'll just tell you, it was a fight getting it all back up. A lot of hammering, a lot of redneck ingenuity, more or less. You know, maybe some coat hangers were involved. Anyway, we got it all back up safely. But the worst part was getting this bad boy off. I had to take a hacksaw to this thing because it was all I had at my disposal there. It took me, well, so the hacksaw was the camp host's hacksaw, and it was the only one he had. And all the teeth were missing except maybe like 5 or 6 little teeth on the end of it. So with those 5 or 6 little teeth, I hacked away at that thing for about 45 minutes before it finally came off. I stopped in at O'Reilly's, got one of their little cheapy muffler tips, and it's about the same size, so I just got to get up under there, and I got a bolter on. Right down there is the exhaust. As you can see, it's right in front of the tire. Whenever I'd hit it, it was down underneath the tire, and we had to pry it back up here and route all the little hooks back into the grommets that hold it up onto the vehicle. Then I had to saw the end off. So, lesson learned. A hard lesson learned, but best advice I can give you is don't be impatient. I know it's easy, much easier said than done, but impatience causes nothing but problems. Up in the Black Hills, I spent probably over half my time there fixing stuff. I just one problem after the next. I actually got another video coming up soon that I'll be talking about another thing. Give me a minute. Not too bad. As you can see, the bag is emptying. Just getting the last little bit of water out of it. And I'm sure my freshwater tank is probably pretty full. So yay, we can all get showers again. Anyhow, that's pretty much the end of this video. If you got any questions about any of the system or anything, just drop them in those comments below. I greatly appreciate any likes or you know, subscribing would be even better. It sounds like my water is running out of the top of the tank, so I definitely overfilled the tank. Anyhow, catch you guys later.